Hello, and welcome to Andrew Broussard Watercolors. Today I'm just working on a series of water-soluble oil paintings, just kind of getting some tonalist landscapes out and about. I just did one. This is going to be my second. I'm working on 5x7 linen universal prime. It's the Centurion panel. And let's see. I'm just going to jump in and start by pushing around some raw sienna, and will allow the scene to take place and get created. Here's some burnt umber, and my other hand is just kind of keeping Hammy at bay because he's exhibiting the behavior of launching himself up onto the art table, which in the past he's gotten Van Dyke brown all over his paw, and I'm just not looking forward to chasing him down and trying to clean his paws off. Yep, no, I'm not chasing you down, Hammy. So anyway, winter break has started, which is absolutely fantastic. Here's some raw umber. Getting very expressive with this one. The temperatures are below freezing. I think for much of the United States, that's the case today. They had that Arctic blast come down. And just let this scene happen. Whenever I have paints on the palette already and I start a second painting, the first one almost seems to be kind of tight and stiff, and then from there the second one seems to be very loose and expressive, which is interesting to see that happens and to watch that pattern play out. It's currently, I think it's the 5th day of Hanukkah, and Christmas is on Sunday. So if this video is released before then, happy Hanukkah and Merry Christmas and whatever you celebrate. I hope you're all being safe and traveling safely in all this terrible weather. Here's that raw umber just really going out there. I use my usual painting board where I'm painting flat. I tape down some printer paper, burnt umber, and then I just put a little circular piece of tape on the back of this to hold it in place. Otherwise, I have to kind of keep my hand there and prevent it from sliding around. I plan on eventually getting maybe a 5x7 plein air palette box to paint on. And of course, you're always welcome to follow along with any of these paintings. And if you ever want to support this channel, I have a whole bunch of links down below. Oh, you have express permission to sell anything you do whenever you follow one of my videos. I want you guys to be successful, to have fun, and to have money for art supplies. Most likely going to stay within the earth palette. I do have 2 or 3 of these water-soluble oils that are outside of that. The ultramarine blue. I think it's, they call it phthalo rose, but it's probably like a quinacridone phthalo rose. And I have the phthalo green. But right now, kind of sticking true to my roots of just loving earth tones. It also prevents struggling with like kind of color harmony and all these other things. I bought quite a few of these panels. I have the universal prime and the oil primed, and when you buy them in 5x7, you get a pretty good price on them. I think with oils, the initial investment with the tubes of paint, the tube can last you a long time depending on how thickly you're painting. If you're painting very expressionist, very impasto, thick oil paints, you can go through a tube pretty quickly. I remember that was the case whenever I first started with oils in college. I really enjoyed using, I think it was like a filbert brush or a long round brush, and putting it on the style of Van Gogh. And that really put me through a lot of tubes of, I think it's the Winsor, is the Winsor & Newton brand. And probably the Blick brand at the same time too. But applying like this, I could see these basic tubes lasting a while. And if I wanted to explore outside of these brands, you know, just playing within the specific range that a brand will make with colors, I think that's pretty affordable to do. But yeah, so I was talking about price. Surfaces seem to be where the money really starts to take place. Where here, the linen boards, I think they come out to about $1 for the 5x7. Maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more. The gesso boards on the 5x7, I think come out to about a little bit over $2 per board. So it kind of gives you an idea that if you're going to paint fast and loose, it's pretty easy to spend a lot of money on surfaces. And then from there, if you're working on things that are stretched over the bars, you're going to start taking up a lot of space. So anyway, so I think, even though it's kind of rambly, initial investment, just get a few colors if you want to try it out. Buy some cheap surfaces to play on. But if you plan on large scale paintings, I really don't have advice for that, but I can kind of point you in directions. I'm gonna put this down for a moment while I drink some water, some soda. Let's see. I know Stuart Davies, who I'm always mentioning, you know, one of the modern oil painting masters that I absolutely love. He, I believe, uses the MDF board and will prime that, gesso it himself, sand it down, prime it, gesso it. I believe that's his process to going about doing it. And he works very large. Dennis Sheehan, I'm not sure the surface he's using. Then there's David LaFell, who I absolutely love for still lifes and portraits. He's just absolutely phenomenal. I think he's in his 80s, and he has Bright Light Fine Art. And there's books that he put out and books that other people had written on him. You could kind of find a list of colors of his palette and what surfaces he paints on, because he goes around and does seminars, and the Bright Light Fine Art is his online program that you can kind of sign up for. Dennis Sheehan has the Sheehan Academy. I think that has a few videos up. I want to say 8 was when I had checked. I had unfortunately never gotten those or was able to watch those. And then Stuart Davies, and I mentioned his setup, or at least from what I remember, he has live Zoom meetings that he does. And he lives in France and will have people sign up for either, I don't know if it's like a weekend thing or a week-long thing, and people will come and set up, and he'll do a demo with them, then paint with them, etc. So there's that. There's the Virgil Elliott who I've been mentioning. I don't have his book. I think it's around, I think somebody said they had found theirs on a $50, the book that Virgil Elliott wrote, and there's a Facebook page dedicated to it. And I kind of just like look at it and see what people are asking. And I think that he would be very specific about surfaces. So if you're looking for large stuff, those are a few different ideas and who you can look into. Let's see. And being that each one of them kind of has their own approach, you know, they have their own systems. Where, you know, Stuart Davies, I find super fast and loose. He uses brushes from a department store. They're just the chip brushes. While he's scratching at Hammy. While David LaFell, I'm sure he probably uses more like the rosemary brushes and has a more traditional palette. So depending on how you want to approach it and who you want to look into, there's a whole bunch of stuff. And I'm sure, you know, there's no right or wrong answer. Though I'm sure that some people will say that their way is the right or wrong. But yeah. Anyway, in that blabbing, I think we got pretty far. A lot of these are kind of just initial applications, seeing what's possible, and then if they're going to come back, if I'm going to come back over and just glaze and play around on top of it, or leave it the way it is. Regardless, it's going to get varnished whether the pigments sink in or not. The oil sink in, and that'll help everything pop. But that's at least 6 months from now, unless I use that kind of touch-up varnish. And we play around from there and see what happens. Let's just put in a little circular. Me and Joe Menza and Matthew Clemens haven't done an art talk in a while. I just started thinking about that. Hopefully during this break we can do that. I know that they're visiting or doing some family stuff during the holidays. Hopefully one day it can happen. I've been really relying heavily on these, playing with these scratches. I'm having a lot of fun with that. But the reason I mentioned the art chats with Joe Menza and Matthew Clemens is that I've been really wanting to talk to Miss Donna Winters. She posts a lot of Tonalist oil paintings, and she was playing around with gouache for a while. And I'm curious about her just approach and her setup. She posts a lot of progress pics. And I want almost to be like, all right, what mediums are you mixing into the oils? Are you playing around with any liquid, any alkyd? You know, like me, this is the water soluble, so I'm using just water as a little bit of a medium, but they do have specific mediums for it. There we go. I think I'll leave this one here. So I'm gonna stop the video, and I will be back with more, and then down the line, hopefully during this break, I'll be at the point where I can start experimenting with glazing on some of the original ones that I had started with the water solubles. So I hope you enjoy. Please like, subscribe, follow. Thank you to everybody that has supported me through Patreon and through Super Thanks on YouTube. It really helps, and it helps procure all of these materials. Y'all take care, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.